talk about. And we are following this stage. In 1954, then the engineering was immediately developed. 1954, when Mr. Tata was the extensive the engineering section of the electrical department was leaving and then joined to the then engineering department. So he continued as electrical operation and power. The telephone department was linked to electrical operation. That destined some years later and it formed to the subject department. Later, history all came out. What happened in electrical operation? It was divided into general and separate. And recently, again we had a small section Tata and formed services department. The idea or the thinking behind the management is these smaller departments are more viable, it will be better managed, and they expect better service from us. Because I used to ensure the management from nowhere to there. Why not have this, why not have that, why not have this department, this makes the daily of we keep on asking the management, we do not know. And then by end of the last, the management has accepted our solution or request. But at the same time, with the viable units that we have got in the electrical department, we should be able to give better service, quantifiable, improved service. I have to get that is possible. I will talk about electronics. We had electronics to the till 1980 or electronic department was formed, which went out of the domain of electrical engineering and later on came back. That was possible in the beginning itself because it had got no advantage. Well, now we are at full-fledged department, so it is fine. Unless the question, and this was what I wanted to tell that management is looking for a service from all the departments in the electrical department, which is very much better or is required more for the years to come, higher production. This year the chairman management wants 2.05 output million tons, and how it is unless all departments do their shoulders together and market. This was what I want to say at that time. If there are any improvements are required, I am sure my immediate colleagues will continue to strive for it, and then in due course we will get whatever we plan. In a function like this, it is rather very customary that this is a man who given a title that we should talk about how we began, what happened to him in the course of his career. In this collection, I would like to mention about the various benefits or the training courses or especially the electrical world that was from some stalwarts, some of you may know that some of you do not know. One is Mr. A. in India, another Mr. Raghunathan, and another Mr. Tata, and also Mr. Tata. Mr. David India was the head of the electrical power department, and the man who is very meticulous is looking for problems in equipment. Any equipment showing any defect, he will not tolerate. He will not allow it to continue, whether the management equipment Similarly, Mr. Padmana was given data next to Mr. Tata in India. He was all the time looking for new frontiers, looking for new fields. The first thing was the system protection, system control. Secondly, the new type of field control. He is the man who put the jack of changing the field control and from the present unity number one type of old electronic control to the analog. No point of running order for people to get it. Similarly, in other areas, so far as the relay protection is concerned, improvements in the relays, we had formally the old type of sequence protection system. We changed over to the identifier, which diminished the splitting of or uniformers, pumps, etc., especially in pump components. We also advocated the new system of control for the cooling water pumps in pump components. They are all big motors, and when there is a voltage, the rotor control will come to the picture. That means the fits of the pumps are avoided. There is fire from the water. There is the AC dominance, AC dominance. This one actually who always to work on fertilizer. What is the equation for water or air generated or voltage transform? What is the formula for design of coils, formation of outflow, non-flow? What may be due to the combination problem in DC motors? We will work on fundamental. And we could at that time, myself in the association, we were together in the PhD motors. We could solve many problems. Mr. Padmana in particular, he studied a lot about carbon pressure, for example, of DC motors. Selection of the right type of carbon pressure, how to find the equivalent, etc. And right about the angle of the carbon pressures. The way their carbon pressures are changed or carbon pressures are later on the component. All that was we had a major problem in the 2005 or so we could do a lot of experiments. Similarly, commutation problem, measurement of the whole line, etc. Now another finding one problem for loose space. That officer now is responsible for this due to Mr. Padmana and Mr. Tata. And we being at that time many engineers, because which bad orders to learn and get to know the things. And Mr. Padmana, he is almost remorseless in other philosophy states. And Mahatma Gandhi, he conducted satyagraha to subjugate or to remove the cruelties that were being inflicted by the kings or the rajas of that time. But this particular state was very well managed. Mahatma Gandhi visited this particular state. The people were extremely happy. People had representation. There was no communal problem. There was all-around prosperity in this particular state. It was a very small state, maybe one city and a few villages. And if you want to plot it with the Maharashtra state boundaries, the whole economic kind of place, it was so small. But when once the states were taken into the Indian provinces, so to say, and it lost the identity. What the point which I am making in that book, Mr. who later on became the India's state commissioner in UK, he makes a mention that life is a sum total of coming and going, sigma coming and going, and what happens between these two. A child comes to the school, goes from the school, it doesn't like anything. A boy comes to the college, goes away from the college. Relatives come to you, they go from you. You come to work, you go later from the work every day. Maybe after some time, you have to go permanent. So he puts that life is a sum total of coming and going, and what happens? I thought it's a very good point that he has made, and then I thought it is appropriate occasion for me to mention it. One day we have to go to but it all depends upon what we leave behind. We have good memories, leave behind good lives, or not. I'm sure you all will be in my heart, and I am going to all in my heart, and perhaps the same may be to myself and others. Another point which I wanted to make was, I have been grateful. My wife and I are extremely grateful to all the year long, career long association we had with all of us. And she has asked me, she was come here she has asked me to convey our faith with you all. You must have observed in space technology great lessons. Now I am in a state of not great lessons, but job lessons. And I should also thank Rajiv Gandhi for his Rozgar Yojana, which has come up with right time. Before I close, I would like to express my thanks to top management, my immediate management, and all of it for the wholehearted, unstinted cooperation, help, and service that you are doing. Thank you very much.
Friends, today please have got with us in Nordic speech, English proclamation that is called the speaker could have preceded Mr. Kamath's final speech, but on his request we had to reverse the proceedings. Now I will continue part of my speech. It is highly unprofessional. So after extending a fair formal message to Mr. Kamath on his retirement service to the company, I thought we should talk about Mr. Kamath and not necessarily talk, which all of you know him. Well, I know Mr. Kamath from 1947 onwards, because both of us joined the same college in Toyota. We studied together, we passed out together. Then today I am here, it is good to retirement, starting from our college to ending our career in Tata. So throughout my career, both in the college and in my career in Cisco, in the electrical power department, and later on in the CE's organization, the Kamath has been very kind to me. He was known to my family also. My father was a very good student in the college. So whenever I used to give home my marks to my father, he asked me Kamath. I mean, it's sort of this thing. We had a competition in the college, but I think it was devoid of any, what shall I say, jealousy or anything, but purely a true friendship was which I endured over that time. And he, as I told you, was responsible for bringing me here. And later on also, in the course of the career, not only the course of the work in the Tata company, in the outside also, Mrs. Kamath was also known to us. We both of us got married in May 1955. Kamath, I think, got married on the 1st of May 1955. Am I right, Kamath?
Yes.
And I got married on the 16th of May 1955. So after my marriage, I went to Coimbatore, and he also came to his new bride from Bangalore. He came to my house, stayed there. So that was first when I met Mrs. Kamath, before she had come to Jeffrey. And when my wife met her at that friendship will also endure so long. Unfortunately, Mr. Kamath was keeping fairly good health. I think till the last 2 years back, he had a heart attack, which we did not, he also did not know, I also did not know. Till about 2 hours back, we were both together. When he rang him saying he had got a pain, and later on it became very serious nature. Both Kamath and his wife had lost for a sort of a turmoil at that time. I think Mrs. Kamath was a bit worried. She was in a state of unrest. We had to do a lot to reassure her that he will be alright. And our prayers came through, and Mr. Kamath came through it. And later on, this year, I think he had an unexpected attack of jaundice, which also he has been able to overcome. And he has said, on his behalf, I also wish to thank all of you colleagues, Mr. BKD, Mr. Pirov, and all of them who arranged to give attendance to him and help him in his ordeal, both this year and last year. Of course, Mr. Kamath is settling here, and of course, I will not be sitting here. I am going out from here back to Madras. Perhaps there's a time when we had, as he said, you will come and you may go. Perhaps we may have to park at that stage. But perhaps our memories will linger for together. Of course, as long as he is here and I am here, we still maintain our close association. On the one, I think Mr. Kamath was a very good electrical engineer, and I could also comment by, we had discussions with him. He had a liking for all people. One of the greatest assets which I rather envy his bosses, approaching the people and making inquiries about them, and however small a man might be, he used to inquire and see how he is, and that a humanistic approach and a sympathetic approach he had, which I really admire, and I think perhaps some of us will emulate. Mr. Kamath had been through, as I told you earlier, through tumultuous days towards the end of his career. As far as health is concerned, I only pray on your behalf and on my own behalf that he enjoys good health. To Mrs. Kamath, who could have been here but she could not come, I, on behalf of all of you, thank her for supporting Mr. Kamath throughout his career in Tata company, starting him by thick and thin, and see to that she took a lot of care about him later on. Even I can tell you a small anecdote, if I divert. Last year when I had gone to Goa, Kamath told me, you buy some cashew nuts for me, which he is not supposed to take. I did not know that part of it. So when I went to Goa, I told my wife, if you are going to the market, buy some cashew nuts for Mr. Kamath. Then she said, no, I cannot buy cashew nuts for Mr. Kamath. What is it? I said, what is the matter? Mrs. Kamath, when I went to Goa, has told me that he will ask for cashew nuts and don't bring it. But then I told my wife, here, after he has asked me, I can say no. We'll buy the cashew nut and give it to them. Let them do what they want. So I brought the cashew nut and gave it to Kamath. Then I talked to Mrs. Kamath one day and I told her, what has happened to the cashew nuts? She said, no, he is very fond of cashew nuts. He goes on asking for it. So I have not given it to him. The packet which you gave him is still with me. So that's how she took care of him. Though apparently it may look hard, but she had the larger interest of Mr. Kamath in her. To her, on behalf of all of you, I convey our gratefulness for supporting Mr. Kamath with thick and thin. I do not wish to take any more time. There are other speakers behind me who are equally conversant with Mr. Kamath and can show you some other interesting facets of his life. I wish Mr. Kamath help me to that.
At a long association in Tata, and you must separation is already. But this is the rule of the world, and you are forced to pay the separation. I in my life with the Tata Steel Solar has been influenced by two Kamaths, apart from other names. One was C.V.Kamath, the other was C.V.Kamath. You may like to know how C.V.Kamath and Kamath. In 1957, when I was almost about 26 years old, I had the opportunity to go to US as a graduate student in the TMT expansion team. So three people were in the team, myself, Mr. Bhaji Baksa, who is the present director of the furnace division of Jamlet, and Mr. C.V.Kamath, who is the from the team. So C.V.Kamath used to be the older member of the team, and he used to keep myself and Baksa with the check at the United States. You know, at that age of 27, it was a very nice place, as you know. You feel like doing many things. So C.V.Kamath used to be the check. And I should say that he was successful and he did his job very well, because probably my father must have told him to keep us on the check at that time. So that's how C.V.Kamath comes in the picture. And he had influenced me in 1972, 1976. Now, I left the electrical department power in October 1st, 1959, when the TMT mills were just formed, and Kamath was the first electrical engineer on electrical power. I should say, Kamath has helped me settle down in TMT mills very well. And during that time, when Mr. Padmanabhan, Mr. Damle, Mr. Kamath, and myself, Mr. Muda, I remember we used to spend a lot of time discussing matters. And at that time, few Westinghouse engineers and GE engineers were available. And I think we have used our associated at that time very well. And Kamath, myself, we used to discuss a lot of things. And Kamath had really understood the mill drive very well. And his article on between mill drives, along with Padmanabhan, is a piece of literature which I suggest the new engineers who are coming to the department can read for their knowledge, because 1446 is going to learn about more time. And those anti-stats and anti-stats are really well understood. Unfortunately, in 1963, 14th January 1963, we were involved in an accident where I was involved. Kamath and Damle were partially involved. And Aduni and Sama was stolen at the time. Sama was stolen. Sama had left us in Delhi somewhere. Aduni was still there. So that was a very unfortunate incident, I should say, when we got all the documents. With the grace of God and the well-wishers' prayer, we all came out. In those days, when we used to come for mill starting at 4 o'clock, after the mill starting, we used to go for prasadam. And we continued this practice for a very long time. And the participants in that were mostly Damle or Padmanabhan, and assistants from Kamath, myself, Modak, and from the electrical operations, Tata plants. When I remember those days, those are very pleasant days. Of course, the past days are always pleasant, the future is always dark. Anyway, so that exchange of knowledge, and whatever we have learned today and about which we are confident, there is a lot of contribution Kamath has made on my life. Achieve those fulfillment. Then the separation came because I went to Government East and Kamath remained here for some time, and then he was promoted as assistant superintendent and vice RP. When RP after Salama became superintendent, and he became assistant. Talking about RP, he has mentioned something about RP. Many of you must have heard about Tata, and he was a legendary figure at that time. In the electrical department, so when the power system is concerned, in the past, Mr. Khan has left presentation, and after Khan came Mr. Sangana. And one single incident is projected Padmanabha into the orbit of knowledgeable people was synchronization of the DISCO and DEC. Because I was a engineering assistant at the time, I used to hear a lot of argument that was going on in the CBD. Kuka used to say that DISCO DEC synchronization is not possible. And Padmanabha on the other hand was arguing. I used to watch that it is possible. So first synchronization of powers, the DISCO system and DEC system was achieved at Tower 30 through that Siemens auto synchronizer. So whenever I see that auto synchronizer, that was a big history. And I can only tell that the divisional manager power, you can still use that auto synchronizer in any other place. It is a wonderful piece of equipment which is intact. Now, as an assistant superintendent, I think after some time, Kamath went to CVD for the 4 million expansion and visited Japan twice, and he had his contribution in CVD during that time. Now, you know, those days when you were young, the facilities were not United States and TV. So we used to make very different things like Chinese restaurant at Bolo. There used to be a very good place for eating and we used to sit down and most of the time we were discussing what's the problem. But the fellowship used to be there, which probably has become absent now because even if you hold it, very different. These days, some or other we are professionals, we work so much that we don't have time, and probably we are also personally responsible because of the seniors are not trying to facilitate. So, when I came to this office, the last 2 years, we see achieving in this office, our interaction of Kamath, there we have a lot of discussions on the DEC transfers, the future of our steel. He had some opinion which I feel was correct, and whether we will be able to give shape to his thinking, the only man can say. So 8th morning, I think Mr. Kamath retired at 7th and 8th morning, Mr. Kamath rang me up and thanked me for all the cooperation that he has given me. I do not know to what extent he was justified in thanking me, but I can only say that if I could make Kamath happy, well, he said, I am happy with it. And since we will be, I will also go, I will be after retirement, I will be settling down in Jamshedpur and leave the office in Jamshedpur. So our interaction will continue, and I am sure that we will have a pleasant, long time to spend in life. With these few words, I want to wish Mr. Kamath a long, happy, retired life with his children, and wish you all the best. Thank you.
I'd like to remind you, because the Kamath has retired, not motion.
Mr. Nilakanta, Mr. Vishwas, and my friends. Quite a few of you expressed your trepidation that if I take the floor I may be too long. I will try to appears that I seem to have trailed him professionally. When I entered the portals of our engineering college, Mr. Kamath had already left, but he had left a trailing blaze behind him. In our library hall, there was a roster of honors of the first three rankers of every batch from every faculty who had passed on. And I saw that there was the name of one C.V.Kamath. I thought this gentleman must be from the same area somewhere. But I really didn't place him as Mr. C.V.Kamath even after coming here. That perhaps has been Mr. Kamath's want that everything he touched, he left his mark. When I came and joined DISCO, even though I was in electrical operation, I did not come into very close professional contact with him for quite a long time. But I came into contact with him as a person from the same area. We have a Canarite association. And his family and myself, I was a bachelor at the time, we came to know each other. And one thing that I noticed in Mr. Kamath right from those days, he was a very, very sociable, friendly and easy person. And he would share his experiences in great detail and very interestingly with anybody who would like to communicate with him. It is a great quality which he has. And he takes great pains to give the details of what he has seen, what he has experienced, what he has perceived. And it becomes an experience in itself. The first time perhaps I met him, we had just returned from the States. He was in Westinghouse, as Mr. Vishwas pointed out. And not only his technical experience, but what he saw in the States. He made a very interesting narration. So did he when he returned after the 1987, I think, foreign visit. Those of us who had not the benefit of similar experience, we could share in the glory of his experience. Professionally, perhaps I came into contact with him most probably when, very closely I should say, for a brief period when I was electrical engineer, and at that time I think he was looking after the repair shop, even though he was an assistant superintendent. One assistant superintendent from power looks after the electrical department. Perhaps at that time, I am sure we were looking at each other from opposite sides. We must have had quite a violent difference of opinion as to what should be done and who has to do it. But it was 1975 December when Mr. Kamath was placed as the superintendent of electrical operation, the single unit of electrical operation. That, I would say, has been a landmark. We were used up to then of having departmental heads who used to rule with the heavy hand. And Mr. Kamath perhaps was the first bringer of change, let me put it that way, who changed the very manner in which a department needs to be administered. And it could be administered, and in my opinion it could be administered better. As I said, he has a great capacity for communication. This helped him a great deal. Even though his experience and putting in electrical operation type of activities was next to nothing, Mr. Kamath did not spare any effort. One thing that stood outstandingly was that for the first 2 or 3 years, whatever breakdowns occurred in the primary producing units of electrical operation like coke oven, sinter plant and blast furnace, Mr. Kamath was present on the breakdown. Not that the breakdown called for the presence of his, for the need of his presence, but Mr. Kamath would not let an opportunity go by without his having derived some benefit out of it, acquiring an accelerated experience. And that shows the dedication that he brought personally to the job or the responsibilities that he was given. And this showed in no uncertain measure. I think we had, if I am not mistaken, a meeting in the old TMDC building under the TWI Association of Blast Furnace. The meeting was organized by Blast Furnace, if I remember right. And in that meeting, the blast furnace operation mechanical staff showered profuse praise on the blast furnace electrical operation. What had happened? It was a surprise because we were used to getting only brickbats. What had happened was that Mr. Kamath, with his leadership over the staff, then assistant superintendent, the electrical engineer, had succeeded in eliminating one big problem which we had in blast furnace, that was the skip derailments. Prior to that, blast furnace suffered immeasurably by the very frequent skip derailments. And in the previous financial year, these had been almost linked. Mr. Kamath has great capacity for hard persevering work directed to achieve results. I remember his having going into this problem even though I was not connected with this area, but I was an assistant superintendent looking after the steel making shop. His perception and insistence that the armature shunting circuit in the skip hoist is a very, very important part of it, and if anything goes wrong in that circuit, well, you are bound to have a skip derailment. And what has been achieved then has been continued to be taken benefit of even today. And as I said, nothing succeeds like success. And what became possible and what became a point of great recognition from all became the necessary impetus and motivation for a turning point in the electrical operation. I should say that by the time he left the electrical operation in 1981, according to me and come to fruition, Mr. Kamath, in his own personal capacity, has been a friend to all. don't feel he has been the most accessible of officers, whether as a departmental head or whether as a chief electrical engineer. And the communication word has two connotations. One is being able to communicate from your side, but that is hardly a communication. What he has been very notable for, I have perceived, that he is a great listener. Mr. Kamath, I am sure, has given to whosoever wanted to have a hearing from him, a very patient listening without interruption. And this is a thing which perhaps worried many friends, even from his subordinates, who wanted to convey to him what they had to say. Many times, either because of lack of time or lack of inclination, we do not get time or get the ear of the boss. Well, he was not so. And that is also an exceptional quality in Mr. Kamath. In his present position, Mr. Kamath has had to work as a go-between between the management at the top level and the departments at the lower level. And in a large organization, there are many things which do not always go well. Mr. Kamath perhaps had to hear quite often some criticism from the top management regarding what did not go well. He had the great capacity of keeping quiet during violent criticism and arguments. It looked as if we lost the day. But he had also the great capacity and the sense of timing to take up the issue again and correct any wrong perception. He knew how to make a point and when to make a point and how to win it. And I am sure Mr. Kamath, when he looks back upon his own career, professional career, he must be feeling a sense of achievement in whatever he has been able to do. For what he has been to all of us and what he has done for all of us, we are very grateful, and if we have been able to do anything for him during his name, well, we are only too glad. And as Mr. Vishwas pointed out, Mrs. Kamath also rang me up and a few other officers the next day after Mr. Kamath started on the 8th, I think. And she thanked us profusely for what we had done. I did not expect, so I asked, what have you done? She said, whatever you have done for him, I am very grateful. On behalf of all of you, I assure that while retirement is a thing which is unavoidable, Mr. Kamath and Mrs. Kamath continue to be in our hearts, and anything we can be of help to them during Mr. Kamath's retired life, which perhaps he will be spending in Jamshedpur, will be only too glad to return. I am sure all of you join me in this feeling and assurance, and whatever we can do for him, for all that he has done for the department, we will be willingly try to do in the future. I wish Mr. Kamath and Mrs. Kamath all health, happiness in their life. best I will get as a chosen of the section. We felt that anything that we give from by making a choice of our own end may not be as much of use and value and benefit. So Mr. Nilkanta was very kind enough to ask Mr. Kamath what would they. I think Mrs. Kamath and Mr. Kamath together have jointly chosen the gift. Perhaps this is the first time Mr. Kamath might have had to join in this. Mrs. Kamath must have organized all his family affairs till now. And now that he is having a little free time, this must have been the one thing which they have done together. And together for the same something which they value and as a remembrance from all of you. I thank Mrs. Kamath and Mr. Kamath for having put their time and effort in this choice and selection. And I wish them all good health and happiness in their retirement. Thank you.
This was friends. After a short speech of love, what they said, you don't have to bother, my speech will be a bit longer than it. You see, when I joined this store, I started my career with Mr. Kamath, though not directly, but sideways. You were sitting in the next room where we were sitting in KPB's electrical engineer office. And that mill shutdown days, those days I just joined. That those are days, then mill starting days. I don't know whether they were eager to start the mill or go together and enjoy the dosa. Many times Bhattacharya told me that why don't you join? Bhattacharya is my electrical engineer. I said, let me see for 2 days more and then we'll join. But I think I did not join the second day, but I did relish the way they took this incident. Well, during working in TMP mills, definitely many times we came in contact with Mr. Kamath on the job, and he was that way very cordial, and as you know, he is a very decent person, not that ruffian like us. And but one thing really I admire the day the accident took place, which Vishwas said. Mr. Kamath was also involved in that accident, and I was a little late in coming to the space. You know, he ran out of the motor house, and that time he was blindfolded, he could not see anything, but he could remember where the telephone was there. He went there on the telephone, picked up the telephone himself and rang up the first aid. So you see how much presence of mind a man can have to ring up at that stage. He could not see anything and ring up the first aid and there. Of course, by the time other people also joined, it was a winter morning. About Mr. Kamath, many things have been told. I'll only touch up about some points when he joined in our department. Actually, management simply broke our pride. We had that thing that people who have not worked in electrical operation cannot manage the department of electrical operation. Because our way of working is different than, as you know, of electrical power compared to Mr. Kamath. And I definitely, I can say now that by Mr. Kamath, putting Mr. Kamath in our department had really had a sobering effect in all our attitudes. Whenever any point comes, we used to fight, shout, and then make it. But Mr. Kamath was all the time, he was very good. Even I remember, in our morning meetings and other times, we never spare anybody, especially as you know myself, I also don't spare anybody. So sometimes course of technical discussions we used to shout in front of electrical engineers, Mr. Kamath. But Mr. Kamath kept quiet, he did not say anything. But after half an hour or so, when I was assistant superintendent side, not assistant superintendent, that time I think I was assistant superintendent. The next room, I used to get that envelope, the colored envelope. On that, yes, written that Mr. Dev, I did not like the way you have talked to me. So, and nothing else, only. So, Mr. Kamath, I went, I used to go to him and say that, Mr. Kamath, I'm very sorry if you feel bad. But still, I have seen that the way he used to take everything calmly, it is really made us sometimes imagine that whether we can also take the same path. I have seen that many systems in the office he has done. Those days I used to take care of those imported equipment. They were running in hundreds almost, electrical operation department. And one fine morning he brought some, in the purchasing department those files. He himself brought about 100 files. He said, there you keep each and one in the file and put it on a serial order and keep it. And that had helped me a lot in organizing those purchase systems. Similarly, PR systems, purchase request also, he has made a lot of things there. Another thing actually, really I admire that he had the confidence, definitely on the mechanical side or the cranes and other things. We had definitely a bit apart from him with our knowledge and experience. And whenever we used to say, I have seen many of the previous bosses who did not have the knowledge, but at the time of doing a job or afterwards they used to come, try to at least suggest. But that way, he never, only after the job is done, he used to call us and what are the things are there and what way we can do the improvement we just discussed. This is the thing, another great thing I noticed during, only that was revealed when both of us, we went on a foreign school abroad. Some of the number of men who used to contact almost in touch with them. There are a lot of people and everyone was giving the visiting card and I have to write on the back of that at which date, which time, morning or afternoon. I used to write this name so that I could prepare. Great idea that I will not forget you are there. But whenever in any course of time we were discussing with Mr. Kamath, he could remember each and every one's by name. It is a great thing. This one, I already asked him, he said I don't know. This type of name, remembering the name, I think I have an experience today. I have forgotten everybody's name. But I definitely admire that he will remember his names. Anyway, I do not know, I think I have heard him many times by last words. Today, Mr. Kamath definitely will not remember those things, and after all, after retirement, like Mr. Biswas and you, I have also started making a house here at Jamshedpur, and definitely when we have not much job outside, we will definitely can pass some and can think and talk about the things what has happened in the past. With all of you, I pray to God that Mr. Kamath and Mrs. Kamath have a peaceful, retired life, and he should definitely meet us, and we will be inviting him definitely in all of our functions or our things. Again, I am just thanking you.
Thank you, Mr. Dev. On behalf of the Electrical Operation Mills, I request Mr. Jawan to say a few words.
मैं अपनी तरफ से और अपने डिपार्टमेंट इलेक्ट्रिकल ऑपरेशन मिल्स की तरफ से रामा साहब को शुक्रिया अदा करूँगा कि इन्होंने हमें एक ऐसी खुशहाल ज़िंदगी में लाकर पहुँचा दिया कि जिसका हम पहले 75 से पहले सोच भी नहीं सकते थे कि इलेक्ट्रिकल ऑपरेशन में कितने सुकून के साथ हम अपना जीवन बिता सकते हैं कभी। रामा साहब, ये आप ही का एक मार्ग दिखाया हुआ है कि हम इस खुशहाल जिंदगी में आज अपना जीवन बिताएं। एक जमाना वो था कि इलेक्ट्रिकल ऑपरेशन से लोग ऑफ के दिन की ड्यूटी आया करते थे और घर में रहना तो बहुत मुश्किल, बीवी बच्चों को देखना तो नामुमकिन, उनकी पढ़ाई को समझना तो कोई ख्याल भी नहीं कर सकता। लेकिन आपने आकर के जो पीसफुल एटमॉस्फेयर दिया और हम लोगों को टेंशन फ्री कर दिया, ये मैं समझता हूँ ये आपका सबसे बहुत बड़ा कंट्रीब्यूशन है जो आप हमें देके जा रहे हैं और जिसके लिए हम आपका बराबर आभारी रहेंगे। ये टेंशन फ्री एटमॉस्फेयर क्यों आया, इसकी ये थी और ये रही कि इलेक्ट्रिकल ऑपरेशन में काम करने वालों के अंदर इंटेलेक्चुअलिटी और उनकी कैपेसिटी और कैपेबिलिटी की कमी नहीं थी, बल्कि ऊपर से सुप्रीम बॉसिंग जो होता है उसकी वजह से ट्रिपल हो गया। आपने आकर के तमाम लोगों को फ्री हैंड दिया काम करने के लिए, उनको सहूलतें दी, उनको जो तकलीफें होती थी उसमें मदद पहुंचाई और उसका नतीजा ये है कि ये इलेक्ट्रिकल डिपार्टमेंट जो एक बहुत बड़ा परिवार यहाँ पर है, आज सुखी परिवार है, दुख से दूर हो चुका है। ये सबसे बड़ा आपका कंट्रीब्यूशन है। मैं तो ये कहूँगा कि इलेक्ट्रिकल डिपार्टमेंट के लिए, बल्कि एक बात मुझे याद आती है कि मिस्टर मेजर जो समझती के इलेक्ट्रिकल इंजीनियर थे, उनके मिसेज ने किसको न्यूज में एक आर्टिकल लिखा था और जिसमें उन्होंने अपनी उस तकलीफ का इजहार किया था कि इलेक्ट्रिकल कॉर्पोरेशन में जिसको में काम करने से उनके बच्चों का और उनकी पत्नियों पर क्या बीतती है और कितना भयानक उन्होंने तस्वीर खींची थी। लेकिन आपने आकर के उस तस्वीर को एकदम साफ कर दिया। आज हम कह सकते हैं फख्र से कि इलेक्ट्रिकल ऑपरेशन के लोग भी अपनी खुशहाल जिंदगी रखते हैं और उस पर रहें। आपने एक मसीहा का काम किया, एक मसीहा ने आकर के एक दुखी परिवार को सुखी परिवार में लाकर पहुंचा दिया। बिल्कुल आपकी पर्सनैलिटी और आपकी शख्सियत बिल्कुल उसी तरह रही हमारे लिए कि एक बहुत बड़ा दरख्त हो जिसके साए में लोग अमन सुकून से जिंदगी गुजारते रहे, जिसमें उनको कड़ी से कड़ी धूप और कड़ी से कड़ी बरसात में उनको तकलीफ न पहुंचा सके। कामत साहब, हम आपको यकीन दिलाते हैं कि आपको सिस्टम और ये परिवार खुशहाल परिवार को छोड़ के जा रहे हैं, आपके ये ट्रेडिशन जो आपने बनाई है ये कायम रहेंगी। अगर कायम नहीं रहेंगी तो दुख हमें ही झेलना पड़ेगा। ये आपका बताया रास्ता और दिखाया हुआ रास्ता, उस पर हम लोग बराबर चलते रहेंगे और आगे बढ़ते रहेंगे। मैं इन्हीं संदर्भों के साथ आपका फिर से शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ और खुदा से दुआ करता हूँ आप अपने कामत खुशहाल रहें, लंबी उम्र के साथ रहें और आप एक बात का जरूर ख्याल रखें कि आप रिटायर सिर्फ कंपनी से हुए हैं, इलेक्ट्रिकल परिवार से नहीं। इलेक्ट्रिकल परिवार के क्षेत्र में जो है वो बराबर आपका परिवार है और हमेशा रहेगा।
A very great steel maker of United States once said, even steel loses its strength when it loses its temper. Point to ponder. Even steel loses its strength when it loses its temper. Here is one gentleman who we have all known has never lost his temper. He is a man of steel, working in a steel company, a steel man himself. The only difference between steel and this man is good steel is hard outside and soft inside. This man is soft outside and soft inside. And that is what gives him more strength. When Mr. Kamath joined took over the electrical organization as CE, electrical organization had only 3 children in it: electrical operation, electrical power and telecommunication. Now that Mr. Kamath is leaving this department, there are 3 brothers and 6 children, a large family to manage. And he has managed it so well, managed it happily, kept them united, kept them efficient in working. I think it's a compliment which probably nobody else can deserve in this company. Mr. Kamath, on behalf of Electrical Services Department, on my own, and all the friends sitting here. I wish you all the best in coming decades in your life.
Say a few words on behalf of the electrical department.
Mr. Kamath, all my bosses and friends, first thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to be there. My actual some talk about Mr. Kamath. See, my association with Mr. Kamath started in 1973-74. Till that time, at that time I was asking when I was black. Till that time I was always under SK Baginda, who was almost a banana tree. That means everybody used to say, you will get an umbrella when you are working under this man. But I used to think he is a banana tree. Whatever a mistake I do, he used to correct me. And when Mr. Baginda moved up and Mr. Kamath came, I was really thinking. See, I was somewhat at times very often. I used to do some shortcut methods in doing a lot of jobs. And I used to get the results also. But that one, sometimes it backfires, you require a good support. That